I've served as a pastor for 36 years, and so obviously I have a heightened sensitivity to the whole issue of when governments and institutions begin to talk about hate speech and the censorship of hate speech. And I guess one of the questions that I'm concerned about today, and I'll ask you, Mr. Price, because of your experience in this area, particularly with ADF, would you consider posting a Bible verse hate speech?
No.
And is saying there are only two genders hate speech?
I certainly wouldn't consider that hate speech.
And so, yet the UK's Online Safety Act, among other things, is requiring companies to take actions against content which, quote, incites hatred against people. And I guess my question is, again, Mr. Price, who is in charge of determining what constitutes content which incites hatred against people?
The regulator of the Online Safety Act is Ofcom, which is the statutory body, and the legislation itself includes what they call priority content. That's content that would be age restricted, encompasses things that are illegal outside or in real life, not online. The problem with that is that our pastor, Dia Moodley, that I mentioned earlier, he was threatened. He was arrested under the Public Order Act, which talks about stirring up religious hatred for comparing Islam and Christianity. And so on the basis that the Online Safety Act restricts something that's deemed to be a crime outside, that kind of content would be restricted. And I think that's extraordinary overreach.
And is hate speech, quote, objective?
Well, this is where I might just pick up on something Professor Kane said earlier in relation to hate speech. The problem with it is it's a tautology saying that incitement to hatred is speech that creates hatred. There have been attempts by the UN, like the Rabat Plan of Action, to try and, on the prosecution side, set out a more clear framework on it. But as far as European courts are concerned, I think that their jurisprudence in this area is essentially incoherent.
Right. Well, obviously, I oppose any hateful rhetoric that's expressed online, but at the end of the day, it's not the job of governments to police bad speech, especially when we'll never be able to agree on what actually constitutes bad speech. And at the end of the day, the best remedy for bad speech is good speech, not censorship, in my opinion. But I will also ask, there is currently a clash between social media platforms that value free speech and the laws of the UK, causing some companies to alter their terms of service. And Mr. Price, are American social media companies expected to comply with UK's Online Safety Act?
Yes, sir, they are.
And how does this impact the way in which companies set their terms of service?
We've seen this again and again when it comes to regulations from European regulators, either from Brussels or London, where companies, of course, commercial enterprises, setting and designing a system that complies with EU law often means setting something for their entire operations globally. And that we saw that again and again with GDPR. Every time you have to click, I don't want cookies, something, and Americans are exposed to this. That's as a result of, it's a complicated enough process, but of European regulation reaching into your online activity.
Well, again, this is a critically important issue, and you've done some incredible work, I know, with Alliance Defending Freedom. And I know, Mr. Price, you've defended witnesses criminally charged for praying near abortion clinics. One of those examples was Father Sean Goff, a Catholic priest who was charged for praying and holding a sign that read, "Praying for Free Speech." UK authorities allege that silent prayer near abortion clinics constitutes an attempt to coerce women who are considering abortions. And I just ask, is silent prayer coercive?
No, sir.
And should silent prayer and holding signs result in legal consequences?
Absolutely not.
So when pro-life activists are prosecuted for engaging in peaceful prayer and protest, what kind of message does that send to other pro-life activists in the UK?
I think it shows an extreme degree of intolerance. It shows police overreach, and ultimately, we have to go back systemically. The problem is these laws that are being created. They're incredibly vague, overbroad, whether it's by European regulators or UK regulators, and they're having a real impact on people's lives and their human right to free speech.
Well, as this committee has discussed previously, the FACE Act here in the United States has been used to go after pro-lifers, and I just pray we don't reach the point that such activists are arrested for silent prayer, as we've seen there. With that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back to the committee.